I personally didn't know like coaches got the same treatment as players in terms of like suspensions and fines. So he got
Yeah.
13 technical fouls. Now, to be honest, man, I love when a coach crashes out with the ref. Like, especially with like you can hear some of it. Oh, that's bullshit. Oh, now you're blowing your whistle. Like, I still want to hear those interactions this year. I'm sure as like a media and a beat reporter, you probably love just like asking those questions. I remember you had one to go viral last year. You like crumpled up the paper and walked
The
off.
OKC crash out. That was
Yeah.
legendary. That was Johnny came through the question up and I got the video. And then right as he finished too, he looked into my camera at the end of it, and that just made it so much cooler. But yeah, he I definitely remember him talking about that. I think Vince Ellis asked him about wanted to bring the text down. He said, yeah, my family's been watching me and I want to, be a little bit more professional for them. And I actually remember last season when they played the Clippers, when the Clippers came to LCA, I got to talk to Tyronn Lue for a minute because we were talking about, the progress that JB had been making. He's like, yo, he's been fantastic, really doing a really good job with the team. He's got to get better with the referees, but for right now, he's doing what he needs to do to get the team back on track. And now to bring that full circle with this revelation by JB was so funny, but I personally like it. Again, I would much rather have my coach, if I was a player, which I'm not obviously, but if I were a player, I want to see my coach fighting and talking and jawing for the team instead of just looking clueless and like Jim Caldwell, like you don't know what's going on. Like I would prefer that if I were a player. So keep it coming, JB. I'm all for it.
I mean, breath of fresh air for Monty Williams. This guy has a
Yes.
pulse. This guy has a pulse. He actually cares. If a ref, makes a mistake, like he was not one to like, I'm going to use my challenge right now because you effed up, and he would let the refs know
God.
about it. Like just some of the stuff from him. Like I love because we haven't had a coach like that fiery in a really long time. But like I heard that him saying I want to get less stocks. I was like, no, dude, like get 16. Like be a Rasheed Wallace for coaches.
Bro, he doesn't sit. If anyone watches JB never sits down during a game. He's standing the entire time, chirping, talking, coaching, being involved as he possibly can. I love it. And yes, going back to the Monty Williams thing, the one game that stays in my mind was the New York Knicks game where he crashed out at the end, but when Cade was talking to him on the floor, it's like, yo, he just teched me, and he just looked at him like, it's like, bro, can you give him something, dude? Like, just anything. So, no, this is a great breath of fresh air. I'm loving the leadership. And I think it's becoming infectious within the team, too. Like, JB's got a good personality. It rubs off with the team. We saw him over at Tom Gore's house, singing with Beef Stew. Like, they all are just vibing in together, man. I'm loving the energy that it's all showing. It all looks authentic, and I think it's reflecting on the court as well.
I think he relates to the city though too. It's
Yeah.
not fake. It's not like you're coming up like when you're getting introduced to Detroit. It's like not saying like, oh, I'm gonna, win a championship, do all this stuff. Like he actually goes out in Detroit. I've gotten pictures of him of just walking down the city from like fans like, hey, look who I bumped into, JB
Mm-hmm.
and his kid, like or JB
Yeah.
and his wife. It's like he's actually living in Detroit. He's spending time in the community. And you can just tell like the players want to run through a brick wall. It's kind of infectious with the Detroit Lions, where it's just like, Dan Campbell and the Lions, like you're like, oh, that's a Detroit Lion. I think you're starting to see like Trajan Langdon and JB saying, oh, that's a Detroit Piston. And I saw a
Mm-hmm.
quote from Javonte Green yesterday from Hunter Patterson, and I was just like, bro,
Yeah.
that is so like Dan Campbell Lions, like infectious with the Pistons. Just like I want to snatch someone's soul. I was like, bro, what?
That was fire. I loved when he said that. And from my life, as far as I can remember when I was a kid, up to even right now, the Pistons have had good coaches. But again, I go back to the Teal days in the '90s and stuff. So even going back then, from when Doug Collins was a coach, the Pistons haven't had just like granted, Popovich like coaches that stayed for 20 years, very rare. Phil Jackson for extended period, that's very rare. But it seems like it's been this musical chairs and this revolving door of new coaches just coming in every 2-3 years with this team, especially with this new core for the franchise as well. So finally being able to land and say, hey, we got our guy. I can't see them pulling a Cleveland Cavaliers and letting JB walk out the door. I think they want him to be here for the foreseeable future. And I think it's a match made in heaven, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, I think the longest coach maybe Flip, RIP. But I mean, like
Yeah.
even then, it's like
That was on like what, 4 or 5 years maybe?
Yeah, he had Stan for a little bit. I know you mentioned like him not sitting down. I mean, Stan kind of had that nervous tick energy where he was running back and forth, but he would take a seat from time to time. JB doesn't sit.
Right. No,
He's on
never.
their ass. He's on
Yes.
their ass. Like
Yep.
you guys have been on field trips and you got a teacher and you're touching stuff you're not supposed to. That's JB with like that's such a bad analogy, but like that's what it reminds me of. Like, hey, don't touch that shit.
On the bus, he's standing the whole bus ride. Why don't you just sit out in your seat? Nope. I'm watching, making sure y'all ain't doing no. You ain't got no business doing it. JB's the man, bro. I love it.
That's what it reminds me of, though. And he's probably one of my favorite coaches in the NBA. Just listening to talk basketball because the way he can break it down and articulate anything, he's kind of explaining basketball to me like I'm 5 years old. I love it.
Yes.
It's awesome. I know we talked about Tex. We just talked about him. Like I'm just like really like hyped up for this season. You could probably tell for sure. I did want to kind of stick with JB. I think.